We're live, folks.
Nobody's on yet.
Nobody's on? All right. This was a bad idea. Too late.
It's early. Here we go.
Oh my God.
Hello!
Okay. Hey, everybody.
Hey everyone, welcome to Wednesday night OWCP Chats with Chris and Jeannie.
What's up?
I know you guys missed me last week, but
It was very painful for me, actually.
if I was going to talk, I was going to throw up. And I didn't want to have to throw up while I was on live camera, and I look like death. So I'm back. Ding. All right. Welcome to another edition of Wednesday night OWCP Chats with Chris and Jeannie. Hello, YouTube. Don't forget you can find us on YouTube or on Facebook page named Wednesday night OWCP Chats with Chris and Jeannie.
Not with Derek.
Not with Derek.
Don't know that guy. Not sure he knows anything or not.
So, today,
I wonder if Derek likes that I tell him that every week.
everybody, hello on YouTube.
Yeah.
So it's so dark on YouTube.
No, it's really not. It's just your computer.
Let's get some
You just went
lighting.
darker. Yeah. If you just go brighter, it's amazing what happens. That's it. That's
Okay.
what you get. All right.
So tonight we're going to talk about OWCP pitfalls. So please hold your questions until Chris goes through slide by slide.
And as you can see, I had this really good idea to have the it was totally my idea, completely, 100% without her at all. It was just me thinking about stuff. And so I came up with this, that we'd put stuff on the screen behind us. What were you going to say?
So we have our screen behind us, so that way you'll be able to follow along. So with that said, I'm going to try to share as quickly as I can.
And all of you need to be sharing too. So this is your opportunity to share. She's doing it too. I'm going to be the only one of us not sharing stuff. So you can definitely share more than I can. But if you could share more than her, that would be awesome because she shares to a lot of places. So where can you share? You can share to your own news feed. You can just hit the share button and boom. You can even say stuff like, check out this awesome guy teaching this awesome topic that's not boring at all, OWCP. Or you could share it to your union page if they'll let you. We understand many of them won't allow you to share our videos in particular. You'll have to ask them why that is.
Yeah.
But we'd love to be shared there.
I'm so short.
And that's fine. This is her regular size, believe it or not. And mine as well. All right. So share.
I'm so little.
Yeah, just let's
Okay, so everybody's
move
so
on.
excited.
Let's move on from your height.
Everybody's so excited that I'm back. I'm
Yeah,
back.
she's back. Yeah, I'm excited too because that way she can read the questions and I can speak intelligently tonight. Last week I was like, how do I put sentences together and answers when I'm still reading the questions? And anyways, it just works better when she's doing her thing too.
All right, so my posts are failing. Oh, brother. Let's see why my posts. We're having some trouble. Okay.
Let's go ahead and move on from this. It's fine. Include. Okay. Whoa. All right. Anyways, so she's having technical difficulties. We can all thank Facebook for that. In order to thank Facebook, everybody can give the laughing emoji because Facebook never fails us. Every time we try to do something new, Facebook is like, not so fast. So that's what's happening right now. But
Okay,
she's
posted. Okay, it's working.
all right. Great. So you're working.
It's working.
She's working. I'm going to leave my jokes out on that one. She is working, folks.
I don't work.
So you go ahead and share. Dr. Cooper said, Chris, you look so much better tonight for some reason.
I saw what you said last week, Dr. Cooper, and I even sent that today to Chris. I was like, watch, Dr. Cooper's going to say something about it.
Yeah, I know why I look better too. Thanks for that, Dr. Cooper. I really appreciate that.
Hello, everybody on YouTube.
All right, so tonight you won't just be looking at the map all night long. We'll discuss it a little bit. But the intent is to put my what I'm going to talk about on the screen so you can actually see it. Anybody that wants a screen capture should feel free. Whoever wants a screen capture just with my face, just let me know to get middle and go. Okay. All right. Okay. see what happens. You can't have two clowns on a Wednesday night chat. You can only have one. You gotta have one clown and one serious dude. So I'm gonna get back to serious dude. Anyway, so tonight we're gonna talk about OWCP pitfalls. These are the most common problems that I see you making that you can stop making and make your lives so much easier when you have an OWCP injury. If you will just do, I have 5 slides, okay, that I'm going to show you in a minute. If you'll just do these things and tell all your friends to do these things, then your lives are going to get so much easier if you have a work injury. And again, I hope you don't. But if you do, you have all of these locations here. These are our locations right now. Okay, you can go to federalinjurycenters.com and then click on the locations tab. I always say click on locations. What is that? What's right there? And you can see all of our locations. The thing you can't see is what's coming. What in the world? Put it back.
Oh, I'm trying to
Put it
show
back.
them.
I don't want that. Just leave it there. Goodness gracious.
I was trying to show them.
She thinks she's running things here. Okay, so we're gonna have an office in Salt Lake City over here coming up soon. We got somebody in Oklahoma City that we're talking to, and I'm positive he's gonna get the deal done. We got some more stuff happening over here. There's a lot happening over here. We've got a Portland deal that we're working on, and we're about to be in Nevada. That's how they say it over there, at a chiropractic convention next week, where we intend to find doctors that are in this part of the country.
Yep.
I'm like the weatherman right now.
Yeah, you do look like.
This is what the weatherman does.
So
Or
over
weather
here,
lady.
it's a little sunny and
I'm not
hot.
a weather lady. Weatherman. Anyways, yeah, so it's sunny and hot over there. Anyhow, but I'm gonna have the main purpose is I'm gonna have my slides up so you can take a look at it, screenshot, do whatever you got to do. My stuff is not copywritten because it's for you. It's not for me. So I expect you to share it.
But if you see somebody else that's showing it, let us know.
Somebody will for sure. All right. So are you still sharing?
Yes.
Okay, so click on the other Breaking OWCP tab. There we go. So hey, look, there's a website. So I'm always saying go to breakingowcp.com if you want to buy the books. I recommend in the strongest terms that you get the PDF download and download it, save it to your phone so that you can put your phone in your pocket. Now you've got the books in the pocket. As you can see, there's volume 1, 2, and 3. There's gear. Now gear has like shirts and like coffee mugs and like funny stuff. And if you don't think it's funny, then she made it. If you think it's funny, then I made it. And then there's the free forms. I'm always talking about the free forms. There's like a form for how to get a CA-16, how to change treating doctors, and your employee statement. In one of my slides, I'm going to talk about employee statements. And so you go to free forms and you download the how to write an employee statement form. All right, that's going to be really important for getting your claim accepted. And so I'm going to show you about that tonight. But this is where you go to get that form and all of the forms that I talk about. Except for, go back to Federal Injury Centers. Except for when I say that all the forms like CA1, CA2, CA7 are here. They're right there at OWCP forms. So go ahead and click on that. And you can scroll it a little bit. All right, so look here. We've got all the forms listed here. And the reason we did that is because when you go to the OWCP forms website, oftentimes you can click on one of these and it won't open. It'll say, you have the ROM version of Adobe or whatever. Well, my laptop has like the updated everything on it. If I can't open a form, likely you can't either. So we just put it here. Nobody has that problem anymore. We update them as the forms get updated. So any CA or OWCP forms that I refer to are here at the OWCP forms tab. All right, so with that said, hopefully you've all shared. There's not many people watching tonight. What the heck? So share some more. And let's get the show on the road. But we're going to talk about OWCP pitfalls, the things that, it's like the landmines you can step on. We can avoid all of those. It's like, tripping over yourself. We can avoid tripping over yourself. If you will just click on the PowerPoint, we can get rolling. Look at that. Okay, so tonight you get to see this stuff. Oh,
yeah.
Hey,
sorry, for those of you that are just hopping on, don't forget to share. So tonight we're talking about OWCP pitfalls. A lot of you are having a lot of issues still, even when we teach it to you. So pay attention. Now we have our board back here.
Yeah, I don't know. And if you like this, hit a bunch of likes and let us know. But if you hate it, also let us know. We'll never do it again. We like to try new things just to see, what works for you.
Keegan White said, NBA Finals. Will the third book talk about returning to work after sustaining work injury, post-surgery? I have read first and second books.
Okay, so I don't have a chapter on returning to work post-surgery, but that's an interesting topic, actually, and I really appreciate that. I love it when people give me ideas like that, because I have no plans to write a fourth book, very truthfully. If you have books 1, 2, and 3, you probably have all that's ever going to come from me. But if I ever write a fourth book, I could see that being a topic in there.
Everybody thinks this is cool.
Okay, you like this. Good.
And Renee Marie, she said, did you make the bundle of all 3 books in a single file yet, Chris?
Okay, Renee, look. I know you told me to do that, and that was 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I've started it. So I've got all 3 books combined, but now that I got them combined, I'm kind of like a technical writing junkie. And so now I've got to take all the chapters and mix them up and put like schedule award chapters next to each other, because there's one in 2 of the books as an example. So I'm going to go through potentially and do that, or otherwise I'll just have them all 3 and have one big, giant, beautiful table of contents. So we'll see what happens.
Who do we have on YouTube tonight?
But yes, I have started that, and that was your idea. So thanks for that. When it's done, I'll let everyone know, because a lot of people are actually saying, I'd love to have one PDF download of the entire thing, all 3 volumes.
They're saying that would be cool if you combined all of them.
Well, then it'll be cool. You know what the key will be? Like, I got to go back to Salt Lake City so I can take another picture.
We have to wait till next
Or my buddy
winter.
Andy's got to get married again.
Okay. Hello from California. Hello, hello. Everybody thinks this is cool. So we're gonna. I've been telling Chris we need to do this.
I'm just not a good listener.
He's not a listener, but since you guys
Not
love
good
it,
at that.
and next week we may have a special guest, so we have to come back up here and do this. So I'll wait till he gives me the okay.
Unless we can figure out how to get him on this, which I think we can. Anyways, so we can do that talk
Okay, so
later.
we're talking about OWCP pitfalls.
All right. Again, go to breakingowcp.com and get your PDF downloads. Oh, God, no, don't do that. You could turn it off and that'd be better.
Let's see, yeah.
Oh, it's so much better. Leave
Okay,
it.
we're gonna put it back on after,
Yeah, or not. Okay.
so you guys could read this.
Yeah, this is
Oh.
this is better now. All right, so go to breakingowcp.com, download your books. Just get your downloads. Listen, I'm going to teach you about pitfalls, but if like later on you forget, wouldn't you like to have some way to reference it? So get the books, put them on your phone, and stick your phone in your pocket. When your supervisor gives you a hard time, and lately I've been saying, because either they're dumb or they're playing dumb, probably they're just dumb, it'll help you with them. All right, so let's get into this. I've got 5 slides. I'm going to talk about these thoroughly. I don't typically read my slides, but here's what's interesting. If you invite us to do a live training at your union event, you're going to see this stuff, because I pulled this stuff right out of my presentation that I do. And it's a 3-hour presentation. So this is a small piece of a much larger training that I do. So if you want us teaching at your local union, your state, regional, or national, you're going to get a lot of this. But tonight I'm going to talk about it. So not reporting right away is like the #1 pitfall. So take a second, take a look at the slide, because I'm not reading it. Okay. She's like technical lady here. All right.
I didn't know I was going to bounce on.
Not reporting your injuries right away. The reason this is a big deal is because you have laws that say, okay, if you report within 7 days, you can have a CA-16. If you report within 30 days, you can have continuation of pay. Forget this one for a second. CA-16 and continuation of pay. What I find is that the vast majority of people who are struggling and sort of suffering financially after a work injury, they waited to report their injury. They said, you know what, maybe this is going to get better and I'm going to feel better later. And, let me just wait. Like I say, that's the rub some dirt on it technique. Don't rub some dirt on it, okay? It's still potentially going to be there. What if it's not? Great, go back to work, no problem. But people just say, well, I don't want to upset my supervisor, and this may just get better. I don't want to rock the boat. Rock the boat, okay? Capsize the boat. Turn it completely upside down. Everything's floating in the water now. Because if you lose your CA-16 and you lose your COP, I don't even want to say that. It's you that's having a problem. All right? So don't wait to report your injuries. Report right away. The rule states that if you report your CA-1 claims within 7 days, you're eligible for the CA-16. A CA16 pays all of your bills for the first 60 days after a CA1 claim. A CA1 injury happens in a single shift, right? So if you have this form, you don't have to pay the medical bills, any of them. So you got to ask yourself, how many of my own medical bills as a result of a work injury do I want to pay out of my own pocket? None, right? Obviously, we want to keep all of our own money. We don't want to give it away. So if you get a CA16, this pays your medical bills. Now, some of you are going to say, well, I had one of those and I went to the hospital and they still billed me. Okay, well, that's because the hospital billing people are idiots. It's not just your supervisors. Believe me, there's more idiots outside of your agency.
Yeah.
They work in the doctor's offices and the hospitals as well, just not ours, because we train them. But when that happens, you got to say, hey, look, I gave you a CA16. Turn that in. You'll get paid. And then you'll get paid. But some people say, well, gosh, oh, geez, they sent me a bill. I'm going to go ahead and pay it. Don't do that. Remind them they have a CA16, and that pays their bills. That's it. That's your sole remedy for getting paid. But you got to do it within 7 days. So if you don't report right away, you run the risk of missing your 7-day window, and now you can't have it. So let's say in 7 days, it's not better. You rub some dirt on it, and it still hurts. Okay, now I got to claim my injury. No problem. You still can. But now you're paying your own bills until the claim gets approved. And it takes some time for the claims to get approved. So report right away. And the other thing is continuation of pay. Most people that miss a 7-day window also miss a 30-day window. And that's because they said, I don't want to rock the boat, I don't want to upset my supervisor, and this might just get better. Rock the boat, upset the supervisor, and don't wait and see if it gets better. Don't do that to yourself. And I always say, and many of you have heard this, repeat after me, I don't care what my supervisor thinks.
I don't care what supervisors think.
It's close enough. It's not what I said, but close enough. So I don't care what my supervisor thinks is what you need to be thinking when it's time to report an injury. Because you wait 7 days, you lose that. You wait 30 days, you lose COP. Continuation of pay is 45 days of time off. And again, just like the 16, COP is only something that you're eligible for if it's a CA1 claim. But the thing about a CA1 injury is it just happened today. And you weren't expecting that. It's not like it just built up over time and you had some opportunity to do something about it. It happened today. And now you waited more than a month and you no longer can have your bills paid at the doctor and you don't have any way to get paid for time off. You can't pay your medical bills. You can't be paid for time off. So what happens if you can't pay your medical bills and you can't be paid for time off? You start thinking about how to handle your health situation, but you're using finance as the main indicator. That's a serious problem. You can't be worried about how I'm going to pay for my bills or how I'm going to pay my mortgage or my rent or my car payment or my son's student loan payment. I got to be able to pay these things. And if you get continuation of pay, then you're not worried about what happens if I'm not at work for like 6 weeks. And if you have a CA16, you're not worried about how you're going to get paid at work for like 8 weeks. And oftentimes in 6 weeks or 8 weeks, the thing has resolved anyways. So not reporting right away is the number one pitfall that I see most people have, that when they get to me and they're like, gosh, I wish I would have known about you 2 years ago. This is what they say. Well, if I'd only known about getting a CA16 and COP, I would have had a way better shot of success. They didn't have it. So report right away and tell all your friends. So all of you that are watching have somebody you know that's not watching. Now, they're not watching and that's your fault and responsibility. So let them know this is happening. This is where you share. Okay, share everywhere. Go to work. Tell people how awesome this was last night. And then it was so much fun. I mean, lie through your teeth, that's what it takes. So let them know they need to be here. And tell people if you don't report right away, you're going to lose your benefits. And I always ask this when I'm live in front of people, how many of your benefits as a federal employee would you like to give up right now? So here's the last thing.
Wait, so you guys see, because he was in the way, you lose your COP after 30 days, your supervisor may write you up for that. So if those of you trying to get pictures of it, there you go.
Yeah, so the third part of this, and I actually just added this, I never really teach this, but another reason to report right away is because your supervisor is going to want to write you up. They're going to say, okay. So first of all, if you report your injuries, they may want to retaliate. They're going to harass you. They're going to, make life miserable for you, which is a crime. And I'm not going to really go into that, but just know it's a crime. The Code of Federal Regulations and the United States Code both say it's a crime for them to do that. So they will almost certainly do it. But if you don't report right away, then they're going to say, why didn't you? And they're going to try to write you up for that.
Yeah.
So report right away. Report right away. And then that way they can be like, oh, dang, I didn't get to write you up. But you're making them give you a CA-16, and you're making them give you COP. So that's what you want to do.
Hello, everybody on YouTube. Let me get some questions before we go to the next slide. Shakila Shaw says, what's the rule for the CA1? I think she just hopped on.
So I'm not sure.
These rules.
Okay, the rule for the CA1 is, okay, I'm going to get to the answer to that question in a future slide.
Okay.
But you have the right to report your injuries. Nobody can prevent you from reporting your injuries. And if you report a CA1 injury within 7 days, you get a CA-16 that pays all your medical bills. And as long as you did that, then you obviously hit the 30-day mark, which gives you the opportunity to have continuation of pay so that you can get paid for your time off. And if you don't get paid for your time off with COP, you're using your sick and annual leave, or you're just going back to work and toughing it out. And that could cause you to get hurt even worse.
Angelina Collier said, my case is approved for medical only. How can I get approved so I can get paid?
Okay, well, they approve it for medical because they're saying, all right, your doctor's narrative explained adequately that you're really hurt, so we'll let you get treatment. If you need to be out of work, your doctor has to write a disability narrative, which is a thing that we sort of coined, and it means they're telling the agency and the claims examiner why medically you're not able to work as a result of your injury. And when you have that and you attach it to your CA7 to get paid for time off, then that's how they open you up to be paid for compensation.
Joanna Fernandez says, I never got my COP, injured on April 18th. CA1 filled out by the manager on day 1, received a copy in the mail. I have not received any payment. Postmaster stated he doesn't deal with entering hours for pays. Got cast put on the next day.
So on box 15 of the CA1, you have to elect how you want to get paid. And it's either A, continuation of pay, or B, sick and annual leave. If you elected A, and they're not paying you COP, then you need to file a grievance and an EEO claim because you have a right to get paid using OWCP's remedies, which is COP.
And Johnny Utah said, so who do you report the crime to?
So, good question. I've been asking this to union reps when we've been out teaching live. And what I'm hearing is the postal inspector, if you work for the post office, any OIG for your agency is a good start.
Shakila Shaw said, I got COVID, positive COVID, and I was out of the country, and it's over 2 weeks that my CA1 is declined.
Okay, so if you got COVID while you were out of the country, I'm having a hard time finding or seeing in my head how you got COVID as a result of work.
Right.
You can only have your COVID covered if it was in the course of duty.
Yeah.
Now, maybe there's more information that I don't have. You'd have to give
You
that
can
to
message us, Ms. Shaw.
Well, we're happy to help. I'm not saying you're not legitimately owed this. I just can't see based on what you said.
So, Stephen, you asked, what if you have a really good lawyer and you just want to use Eric for lost wages? Unfortunately, you cannot do that.
So, let me explain it.
Yeah.
Lawyers can be disbarred for working with people that are under representation by other lawyers.
Yes.
The end. That's the reason why. They can lose their law license.
We have Dr. Cooper on from Atlanta and Columbus.
And
we have Dr. Woywood from San Antonio, Texas.
Really?
He said howdy from San Antonio.
So, who else?
We have Dr. Suma said, hey y'all, Dr. Suma from Federal Injury Centers of Lakeland, Florida. Give me a call.
He's not from Lakeland, Land O'Lakes.
Land O'Lakes, and he said that on here. At 813-528-8000. Myself and my staff are more than happy to help out with anything.
All right, so for those of you that are new here, we have this franchise called Federal Injury Centers. You see it on our shirts. And the reason we have the franchise is because along the way of teaching you about OWCP, I realized that your biggest problem is there's no doctors that will help you. They refuse to take your OWCP because they don't understand it. Just tomorrow, we're driving to Orlando to go to another doctors convention where we're recruiting doctors and trying to teach them or help them understand why they need to be helping you.
Yeah.
Next week, we're going to Las Vegas where we're going to be recruiting a whole other group of doctors doing the same thing, but doctors don't want you. And so our doctors do. The doctors that are on are here because they're interested in what you're saying. They want to know how you feel, what you think. So Dr. Cooper is in Atlanta or Forest Park. I always say you can see the airplanes landing.
Atlanta, yeah.
You can see the airplanes landing at Hartfield Airport. And then he's also got something that's basically like Columbus, Georgia. And then Dr. Suma's here. He's in Land O'Lakes, Florida, which is like the Tampa Bay area, about 20 minutes north of the airport. And that also serves the Spring Hill area in Pasco County. And then Dr. Woywood is one of our newer doctors, and he's in San Antonio, Texas. Now, if you're in San Antonio or in that area, there are a ton of federal employees in San Antonio. And if you are right now suffering with denied claims, that's because you're going to the wrong doctor, but that's a future slide.
He reminds me of the Breaking Bad guy.
She told him that.
I even told him that the first time I saw him at the seminar.
So when you see him, you can ask him if he's been on that show.
He has.
All right. And by the way, I didn't write my books breaking OWCP because of Breaking Bad. I couldn't get through it.
He doesn't like the show.
I can't watch losers be losers. All right. Are there other questions, or can I just move on?
Yes, go ahead.
Boom. Okay. Next OWC pitfall is not choosing doctors carefully. So what I normally do when I'm no, just leave it.
The bottom one, you can.
No, they can see it. They can see it. You can't see it. They can see it. Okay.
Oh.
So what I normally do is when I used to go to these union conventions, and I would say, hey, there's all these categories of doctors that you shouldn't go to, and people would get their pen and paper and start writing it down. I'd say, hey, don't write this down. You're not going to like it. And that's because, as you can see, it's every category of doctor you can think of. General practitioners, meaning your family doctor, surgeons, ER doctors, urgent cares, VA doctors, and chiropractors. So the issue with these is like family practice doctors aren't trained. They don't know anything about OWCP, and why would they? If you think about it, they just don't. Surgeons are trained to do surgery. They don't write narrative reports, and if you don't have a narrative report, you don't have an accepted claim. ER doctors are just too damn busy. I mean, forget about it. Who's been to an ER? Nobody wants to go to an ER, but can you imagine the ER doctor writing a 5-page narrative? Forget it. It's not happening. Urgent cares are run by nurse practitioners and PAs. And when they sign stuff with no counter signature of an MD, that's a denied claim. And by the way, most of your agencies, unless you're a VA employee, are sending you to urgent cares.
Yep.
They're sending you to a certain denial. So don't go to urgent cares. And then VA doctors, okay, if you are a VA employee and your management or HR or injury comp says you must go to the VA doctor, that's a lie. The law says you don't have to go to someone employed by or contracted with your agency. You don't have to go. And the VA doctors, by the way, are world-class doctors, but they're not trained to help you. They're trained to help veterans. Their mission is veterans, not you. And it's not their fault. That's their mission. And then chiropractors. Now listen, we love chiropractors. All the doctors I just mentioned are chiropractors. And except for one office, every office we have is chiropractor owned.
Yep.
But all of our offices are multidisciplinary offices, meaning they have medical. And so that's the issue. If you go to any regular chiropractor's office, you're going to deny claim.
Yeah.
Because the chiropractor can't sign your narrative. But they can assist in building it, in evaluating, in writing, and they can give input. But the medical doctor and the medical staff has to be the final say. And so if you just go to a chiropractor office, you're screwed. You're definitely going to get your claim denied. And that's going to happen to all these. But not choosing your doctor carefully is the key here. They mostly get their claims denied. How do I know that? Because statistically, nationwide, 1 out of 7 people has an accepted claim. What happened to the other 6? All right? The proof is in the numbers there. If everyone had accepted claims, I'd say, hey, you can go anywhere you want to go, but it's clear you can't. And so you've got to go to a doctor who is trained in OWCP. That's the whole point, is that it's not that like some of these people couldn't possibly be trained, because look, I've got 50 to 60 chiropractors that are trained in OWCP, but so are their medical doctors, their nurse practitioners, and their PAs. And so if you go to the wrong doctor, you're in trouble. And the reason this slide is here as an OWCP pitfall is because too many of you go where your supervisor tells you to go. Like, well, I just don't want to rock the boat. Again, I don't care what my supervisor thinks, right? Just remember that. We don't care. Rock the boat. When the supervisor says, you must go to the urgent care, here's what I'll tell you to go. You go to that urgent care if you're bleeding and you need stitches, if you got a broken bone that needs a splint, or like go to the ER if something so bad happened you can't wait till tomorrow. Do that. Take care of yourself. But tomorrow, go find an OWCP doctor, because the OWCP doctor is who's going to get your claim accepted. And that's critical. So that's the next pitfall, is people just go wherever they're told to go. Use Google. Okay, if you don't want to go to federal injury centers, go to Google. If you want to go to federal injury centers, you go to our website, you check the locations tab like I showed you earlier. And you can find your doctor if you want. If it makes sense to you, you can call them directly. All their office addresses and phone numbers are there. If you don't want to go here because for whatever reason you're not trusting of it or something, Google it. OWCP Workers' Comp Injury Doctor in your city and state. Let me say it again. OWCP Workers' Comp Injury Doctor, city, state. That's the biggest search ever, okay? You will find somebody who wants to help you or you won't. And if you don't, that's a clue. So then go to Federal Injury Centers and check out the locations tab. You're probably going to find us because we work really hard to find you so that you stop having denied claims. But not choosing your doctor carefully is a critically bad thing to do. So choose your doctor carefully. Questions?
So, let's see. Dr. Woywood said, I hear that often. Brian Cranston versus Brian Woywood. Angelina Collier, I need a doctor in Baton Rouge. We have a doctor in Walker, Louisiana.
Which isn't far. It's like half an hour from Baton Rouge. So just hit up the locations tab and scroll down to Louisiana and check it out. If it makes sense to you, the phone number is there to the office.
Kat Blake said, if I file for a schedule award, will I still be able to get disability later?
Yeah. So somebody asked earlier about disability. Disability retirement is through the Office of Personnel Management. That's a separate agency. Department of Labor is workers' comp. Office of Personnel Management, Office of Personnel Management is disability retirement. You can do both.
Sharon Lorraine said, my hospital wrote up a $100,000 bill for an on-the-job work injury because ER did not do a narrative report.
Are you telling me you have a $100,000 bill at the hospital? Because I know what they can do with that when they roll it up real tight. What they have to do is get the claim number. You can give it to them. Let's get the claim accepted, and they can send all those bills to Department of Labor. And the good news for them is they have 12 months from the date the claim is accepted to send in their bills. So don't pay that. Give them a claim number and tell them when the claim's accepted they can bill Department of Labor and get paid 100%.
Yeah.
From you, don't give them the money.
Millie Martin said, I got a letter from DOL stating they want to terminate my case and put me back to work full-time. The letter was just a proposal and said medical benefits and wage compensation would not change for 30 days, giving me time to contest that decision. But my postmaster took me right off that day. What the F? Now I will be overpaid by USPS and will have to pay it back. I'm working 4 hours and claiming 4 hours. He is changing all my hours to 8.
Yeah, so I recommend put some money back that you think you might have to pay back later. Don't put yourself in a hole. Some people would just go spend that money when it's not theirs to spend, so be careful with that. But if OWCP is saying they're going to close out and make you go back to work and stuff, it's probably about your diagnosis. You probably have a low-level diagnosis like a sprain or a strain, and the claims examiner is saying you should be better already. Your doctor, if that's the case, and I'm not saying it is because I haven't seen anything from you except for what you just said, but your doctor will have to write what's called a diagnosis expansion report, and the diagnosis expansion will let the claims examiner know that things more serious than what they thought, and then that'll get them off your back.
I'm sorry, YouTube, you can't see that too well. I don't know why that's happening.
Let's just move on. It's fine. We'll work it out later.
Stephen Yellis said, can you get your lost wages but don't want to do your job anymore?
You can get lost wages from the past, and you can quit your job tomorrow. You could do both of those things. If you don't want to do your job anymore, you could do disability retirement. You can move to another craft. There's a lot of things you can do, but you can definitely get all your lost wages regardless of what you decide to do tomorrow.
Terry Buxton said, I had an accepted case and was being treated by with no warning. The office closed and my treatment stopped. It's been some time now. Meantime, I had surgery because I needed my legs to work. At this point, I really need to find a doctor to reestablish care under OWCP instead of my dime. I used all my own time and need to get back to work, but my district is disallowing any light duty. Will your doctor help with getting medical records from OWCP I was using that is closed?
Absolutely. Yeah, we can definitely help with that. And the good news is that if you have an accepted claim, your agency is required, unless you're a rural carrier, to give you limited duty. And so if you're a rural carrier, they're not going to, no matter, there's nothing we can do about it. But any other craft, they're required to give you limited duty if you have an accepted claim. But if you're a rural carrier, they give you 2 years to get back to work. So that's kind of, I guess, a trade-off. Everyone else gets like a year.
She said, I use Flex FedMed in San Antonio. That's not one of our offices.
No, it's not. But if you go to Dr. Woywood, he'll probably help you differently than they did. I don't know them, so maybe they're fantastic and the best ever, but they can't be the best ever because Dr. Woywood's there.
Stephen said, do I have to still be with my job to collect lost wages because I don't want to do my job anymore and resign?
Okay, so as long as your claim is accepted, and it doesn't need to be now, okay, at any point your claim gets accepted, you can go back and claim all your lost wages regardless if you still work there or not.
Johnny Utah said, so I had to switch doctors due to the fact that the doctor does not want to deal with work comp and billing issues. So I'm going out of state to get treatment now, which OWCP has approved. OWCP just denied my travel reimbursement. I have 30 days to appeal. What is the best way to get paid for some travel expenses?
Well, you got to pre-authorize it. You know, you got to call your claim examiner in advance and say, look, you've approved me to go to this other doctor. That's not free. Will you approve my travel expenses? And then you'll use an OWCP 957 form, which you can find on my website, and you'll fill that out for your travel expenses. But get it in writing from your claim examiner that they're going to pay for it.
Stephen, you want to know how to do disability retirement? If you give me your phone number, well, no, you're the one with the attorney. You'd have to talk to your federal attorney, and if
Well, let me just stop you. If you have a federal attorney, your attorney knows how to do disability retirement. If your attorney is not an actual bona fide federal attorney, maybe they don't know. So ask them. They should know. And if they don't, the only way you're going to be able to speak to another lawyer is to not have a other lawyer. You know, I'm not telling you to fire your lawyer. I'm just saying they get disbarred for this stuff, so you got to be careful with that. And they definitely would be careful with it. I can give you advice on federal disability because I know pretty much everything about it. But in the end, I'm not a lawyer. But heck, I'm not a lawyer here, and I'm telling you about this stuff.
Dr. Corrich is on from South Bend, Indiana.
Go Irish. I've been waiting on him to come on. All right, so Dr. Corrich is in South Bend, which basically borders Michigan. So if you're in Michigan, that's a close place for you. If you're in Indianapolis and you're frustrated, you can drive, hour and a half, 2 hours up there. That's not ideal, but denied claims are way more expensive than that trip. And so we're really happy to have an office there. I am particularly happy as a diehard, lifelong, since I was a little child and I couldn't walk, being a Notre Dame fan. So hallelujah and thank you, Touchdown Jesus, to have an office in South Bend, Indiana.
Phyllis Nathan said, my doctor put me out 3 weeks. Post office took my AL. Why? Do I need to file a CA7 to receive my AL back? I have a claim, 2 neck fusions.
Yeah, you'll have to file a CA7 and a CA7B, maybe an A, because if you worked any time, you'll need a CA7A. All of it, everything I just said is confusing because 7A, 7B. We're happy to help you with that. If you need some extra help, send us a message in Messenger on Facebook. We'll help you. But you'll have to do leave buyback if you use your own time.
Okay, so a lot of you keep telling other people when their claims are getting denied, lawyer up.
Yeah, stop telling people that.
I see that and I just want to throw my phone. You don't need an attorney.
But phones are expensive. We're not trying to throw phones. So don't say lawyer up.
Yeah, because I'm ready to scratch my eyes out. Don't lawyer up just because you got your claim denied.
Don't even say lawyer
20,
up. That's like
times.
That's like TV terms.
Yeah.
We're not on TV. This is real life.
15 times, 20 times. You get your claim denied. You just need to find a doctor that could.
And you know what, Eric? So Eric
will say the same thing.
So Eric Blowers, in my opinion, is the best federal lawyer. Most of you think that too. And if I'm not wrong, and you think he's the best, hit a bunch of love and like buttons, and everyone will see that I'm telling the truth. But he'll tell you most of the time, you don't need him. You need one of my doctors, or a doctor, right? But I'm not talking about other doctors, just mine. Because if you have a doctor doing the right job, you can avoid needing to pay a lawyer. Lawyers are needed when schedule awards get denied. They're needed when there's a third-party claim you got injured in a car wreck on the job, and when you need disability and disability gets denied. Those are 3 common reasons to need a lawyer. But when you're just not getting paid, generally it's because your diagnosis is bad, your documentation for your doctor is bad, or you're not sending documentation in to get paid. Those are things that we can help with without you needing to pay a lawyer.
Okay. I know you guys, I'm reading this, you guys are calling a lot of our offices and they're saying that they don't do schedule awards.
And most of them don't right now, but most of the doctors in the whole country don't. The 5 or 6 that we have are one of the very few in the whole country that do.
I was still talking.
Yeah.
He just cut me off.
That's going to happen again probably.
And you said you never heard back from them. When you guys are looking for a Schedule a Ward doctor and you call them and they say they're going to call you back and they haven't, just please message us on Wednesday night chats, either me or Chris.
Or call them like 1,000 times, like blow them up.
But on our website, we'll bring it back at the end. There is a link for Schedule a Ward doctors. And trust me, out of everybody in this company, I'm always on these doctors.
She is.
AZZ to get themselves prepared for Schedule awards. I don't know why they won't do it.
And some of them are like, have a little animosity towards her because
that's all I ask. When are you doing Schedule awards? When are you doing Schedule awards?
Now, for those of you, just some, inside baseball stuff, to get trained to do OWCP takes an enormous amount of effort. You wouldn't even believe it. It's not just the doctors. It's the medical assistants, the therapy staff, it's the receptionist, the case manager. It's everybody. They all have to learn some stuff. And so once we've just pounded OWCP into their brains, then we say, oh, by the way, you also have to do impairment ratings. And they're just like, oh, it was so hard becoming a doctor, and learning OWCP was so much harder because it is. So I'm not going to tell you to be patient because I wouldn't be, but that's the situation.
Michelle said, Dr. Card said, go Irish.
Go Irish.
Okay. Michelle Blair said, are you still getting a federal injury centers in Louisville, Kentucky?
Louisville.
Yeah.
We're working on it. Getting these doctors to say yes sometimes takes like an act of Congress, so working hard on it.
Dr. Carridge, you'll see just Chris at the football game, not me.
Probably my son too, because I brainwashed him early on in life.
And Kevin Woody said, nope, roll Tide.
Well, I got no problem with Alabama. We're fine, but now all my Auburn friends are gonna not be happy about it. But yeah, roll Tide unless it's against Go Irish.
Hello, Misty.
All right, can I go to the next slide? We can ask questions in a minute.
Okay.
Fantastic. So here's the next pitfall. So check this out. You may have a hard time seeing this. I'm not sure what you can see. If you're on YouTube, you're probably struggling. But this is the back page, the second page of a CA1 form. Oh, that's perfect. Leave it there.
Yeah, okay.
That's great. So this is just like that.
Yeah, okay.
Leave it, thanks. So this is the second page of the CA1 form. And one of the big pitfalls is not taking this to your doctor. When our doctors get this, we're trained to go through the second page, which is what the supervisor wrote, and use their words against them, whether they're good or bad. And if you don't bring this to the doctor, you may have a problem. Many of you have followed me for a long time, for years, and you've heard me tell the stories over and over. Was employee injured in performance of duty? And some supervisors said no because they tripped in the parking lot, right? Well, that's definitely performance of duty, but they said no. Or was injury caused by employee's willful misconduct? And you've heard me tell the story of the lady who picked a box over her back and fell down, and the supervisor said she was noticeably unstable, so it was her fault. Or intent to injure yourself or another. Wouldn't you like to know if your supervisor thinks that you did this on purpose? And intoxication. So I always say this, and I'm glad to be on Facebook Live and on YouTube Live, to say don't go to work drunk and don't go to work high. Don't smoke weed before you go to work, and don't take shots at lunch. Don't do these things because you can get hurt, but you can also get fired, and you can get someone else hurt. But the thing about intoxication is, was the injury caused by the employee's intoxication? So let's say that, you did do that, and you showed up to work drunk out of your mind, and the ceiling fell off on you. How does you being drunk have anything to do with the water leak that caused the ceiling to fall on your head? So it's not necessarily a reason to deny your claim, although you're getting fired. So don't do that. And intent to injure yourself or another, you have to be able to prove it, but wouldn't you like to know the supervisor said you did that on purpose? And then down here, box 35, it says, does your knowledge of the facts about this injury agree with the statements of the employee and or witness? And many of you have heard me tell the story of the letter carrier who stepped out of her vehicle into the ditch. There was a hole there. She stepped into the hole and she twisted her knee. She called her supervisor and said, I twisted my knee by stepping in the ditch. The supervisor said, come on back, let's fill out the CA1, which they did. They filled it out. And she said on box 14, she said, description of injury, I stepped in a hole and twisted my knee. Well, right here in box 35, the supervisor said, my knowledge of the facts about this injury do not agree with the statement of the employee, because she told me she stepped in a ditch, and on here she says she stepped in a hole. So the doctor, because he had a copy of this, was able to read it. He called me at home at like 9 o'clock at night and said, Chris, what the hell is going on with the post office? Why are the supervisors such idiots? And he was like this big football player looking guy. And he was really serious when he was angry.
Yeah.
And I said, well, Doc, all you got to do is write a paragraph and explain that, you know, what happened. So his paragraph said, the hole was in the ditch, you idiot. That was the title. The hole was in the ditch, comma, you idiot. And in that paragraph, he used the supervisor's name several times to say, yeah, she stepped in a ditch. Yes, she stepped in a hole because the hole was in a ditch, you idiot. So that's my favorite of all the stories. But if the doctor didn't have this, he would have just written a normal narrative report, and maybe it gets denied because the supervisor said their knowledge of the facts of the injury don't agree with the statements of the employee. So the thing is, you've got to take this in. If you don't take copies, and the CA2 doesn't actually have this stuff, but we want to see it. The supervisor doesn't have anywhere to like hose your case on the CA2 because they can't see the onset of tendonitis or the onset of low back pain or carpal tunnel syndrome. They can't see it. So they don't waste our time by asking them what they think medically when they don't have a medical license. But you bring this stuff in, and our doctors can use the supervisor's words against them. But the beauty is, if they say nothing wrong on here, they go, yeah. They say, no, all this is right. We totally agree. Exactly what the employee said is what happened. Then we've got a paragraph that we insert to the narrative report that says basically in a lot of words, even the supervisor agrees. But we like use all the words on the form that, you know, even the supervisor says it was in performance of duty, wasn't due to willful misconduct, intoxication, or intent to injure themselves or another. And the supervisor even said their knowledge of the facts of the injury agree with the statements of the employee, and they certified that everything in this form is true to the best of their knowledge. So that goes in every narrative report where the supervisor says nothing wrong. But in the occurrence where the supervisor says something bad, we make them famous. So an OWCP pitfall is not taking copies of your CA1 or 2 to your doctor, because your doctor needs to put this into their narrative. Now, for those of you in Iowa, Idaho, South Dakota, North Dakota,
the mid-states,
Montana, etc.,
Midwest.
that area, Nevada, and you don't have doctors right now who know how to do this stuff, you take this and say, hey, doc, at least put this in your narrative report. Talk about this stuff. Now you have a leg up among, on top of everyone else who's going to like their normal chiropractor, their family doctor, the surgeon, ER doctor, urgent care, VA doctor, etc., right? So take copies of your CA1 and 2. Now, so here's the new update. Everything's on eComp now. So now you can log into your eComp account and you can just get your case file and boom, there's my CA1.
Yep.
In the old days, the supervisor would try to keep this from you. And they'd say, no, we don't want you to have it. Well, why didn't they want you to have it? Because they said their knowledge of the facts of the injury don't agree with what you said. And they don't want you to see that because they know it's bullshit. Okay? So they don't want you to see it because they're probably embarrassed that they're, such idiots that they're writing this stuff. And I don't know who's telling them to do that. Like, who's telling the supervisor to hose your case?
Postmasters.
That's I don't know. We don't know for sure.
I'm saying.
But I think you should get to the bottom of that. But now they can't keep this from you. It's on eComp. So get it and take it to your doctor.
Yeah.
We're going to go over questions in a minute because I'm almost to the end. We're just going to get these in. We're probably going to go late today, so, hang around. All right, next pitfall is deadlines. If you miss deadlines, it's the end of it. Like, we're done. If you don't report your injury within 3 years, it's done. 3 years? What are you talking about? 3 years? Yeah, 3 years. Not 3 days, not 30 days, not 2 weeks, not 45 days. You have 3 years to report an injury and still get help. Too many of you are walking around right now limping and you can't lift stuff over your head. You're casing metal, you're trying to lift patients, whatever you're doing. You're building tanks at a base and you're struggling. You're thinking, well, I missed my 30-day window. You have 3 years to report and still get help. Maybe you're not going to have a CA16. Maybe you won't have COP, but you can still get help. You have 3 years to report your injuries. 3 years. But if you wait 3 years and 1 day, even I can't help you. So report now. Right now. And then 30 days to be eligible for COP. We talked about this in the beginning. If you wait to day 31, you cannot be paid for time off. You have to use your sick and annual leave or go to work. That's a struggle. So don't wait 30 days to file a CA1 claim. Now, here's one I haven't talked about. I just added this one in today. 10 days to not lose COP. You're like, whoa. You said if I report within 30 days, I can have COP. Your doctor has to turn in medical documentation within 10 days. or they can cut off COP. It doesn't mean they will, they can. The good news for you is as soon as the medical documentation gets in, they'll automatically reinstate COP. But how many days do you want to be off work and not get paid and have to wait till later to get your money? All right. So tell your doctor to get their narrative report in fast, within 10 days, so you don't lose COP. Again, I have to stress, it doesn't mean you will lose COP, but the rule states that you can lose COP if the doctor takes more than 10 days to turn in medical documentation, and it shouldn't take that long. The next deadline, 7 days to get a CA-16. If you wait till day 8 to report a CA-1, you are not getting a CA-16. You will be paying your bills out of your own pocket, probably with your health insurance, and then you'll have to go get your money back with an OWCP 915 later. So report now, and you'll have your CA-16, you'll have your COP, and you won't have to worry about your three-year deadline. You're all set. And then the last one. Denials are a real thing. They happen. Even patients that we have end up with denials because, claims examiners don't read the report or whatever, okay? It happens. You can always go back and appeal denials. We like reconsiderations. It is not the only form of appeal. There are others, okay? One of the great unions out there has an OWCP person that heckled me a little bit because I love reconsiderations that much.
It's easier.
But I'm still standing here and I still like reconsiderations that much. So you have 12 months to file a reconsideration, which is an appeal of a denied claim. And if you use reconsideration, you can add new information from your doctor, which is basically the doc reading the denial letter and addressing the denial letter in a new narrative report. That's new information. Today someone asked me, what is new information? If you're watching, that's the answer. Your doctor will take the denial report and write a new narrative. You'll e-comp that, and boom, that's your new information. So you have 12 months. If you wait more than 12 months, you can't reconsider anymore. Your claim's dead. D-E-D, dead. So don't miss the 12-month reconsideration deadline. The other reason I love reconsideration more than the other appeal formats is that it gives you a year to appeal. Sometimes many of you are in Iowa, Idaho, South Dakota, North Dakota, Montana, so on and so forth, right? And you can't find doctors who do what we're doing, what we're talking about. It may take you longer to get the new information. Wouldn't you like to have extra time to find that? 12 months for reconsideration. And if you miss that deadline, your claim is dead. I'm reminded of a story where Gini, come back. I'm making her stand tonight. She doesn't like it that much. Like her knees are worse than mine.
It's my back.
Anyways, we had a lady, we were sitting on the couch over there at 11:45 at night, and she said, my deadline's tomorrow, what do I do? I mean, you call any place else, you're screwed. We happen to have an appeal request form on hand. We emailed it to her, and she got it in with just a few minutes to spare.
11:57 was when the timestamp on ecom.
In 4 minutes,
Yeah.
her claim was dead.
Yeah.
Don't be that person, okay? Be prepared. So 12 months for reconsideration. And finally, and then you can go to the rest of the questions. This is the last thing. I just added this one today. Not reading your denial letters. Listen, these are all written in English. We're not all at the same level of reading, but we can all read English. And I'm telling you, you've got to spend some time on these letters because they come in. Department of Labor will send you a letter to your house in the mail, and they're in your e-comp file, okay? And the letter is either going to say your claim's accepted, and here are the approved diagnoses. Yeah. Or it's going to say your claim is denied, and here's the reason why. And somewhere it's going to say specifically your claim is denied because. Well, DOL denial letters always tell you why a claim is denied. And remember I told you on the reconsideration, the 12 months? You read the denial letter, and you have your doctor write a narrative report refuting that denial. So here's 5 things you're going to say. 1, they're going to say they didn't receive your doctor's narrative. Today, I read a denial letter that said the only thing they considered was the employee's statement. That's not good enough, okay? You've got to have your doctor's report sent in, right? Remember that 10-day thing? Well, this person never got a doctor's report. So it's denied because they didn't get any medical. Or the doctor's narrative was insufficient. Most of the time, the doctor can't do causation. They have a hard time linking the injury to the job. So that happens. You'll have to get your doctor to write a better one or get a better doctor who's trained better. 3, the doctor gave an invalid diagnosis. Pain is a real thing. I'm feeling it in my knees right now. She's feeling it in her back. But it's not a valid diagnosis for Department of Labor. So if you have a work injury claim for federal comp, you cannot have a pain diagnosis. I remember a doctor, I read his narrative, I read the denial letter. He had 5 diagnoses. One of them was low back pain. They ignored the 4 valid diagnoses and denied the whole claim because there was a pain diagnosis. So that's another reason, invalid diagnosis. Number 4, the narrative wasn't signed by the MD. If you go to a urgent care center, you're going to have a nurse practitioner or a PA sign it, and almost always no medical doctor counter signature. We use nurse practitioners and PAs in every single federal injury center's office. The reason our claims get approved is they're always countersigned by a medical doctor. Always. And that's by the book. So if you have a nurse practitioner in urgent care, you got to say, hey, where's your MD? Make him sign this thing. Or make her sign this thing. Or 5, there's some other problem that will be detailed in the letter. You got to be able to read these letters. And you got to find the paragraph that says specifically your claim is denied. Because today I was helping someone out and I read her letter and I just copied and pasted the paragraphs that her doctor needed to look at. You could do that. Anybody could easily read it and find it. Here's the deficiencies in your claim and why it was denied. And so you have to be able to do that. And that was it. So, just a recap, not reporting right away, not choosing the right doctor, not getting copies of your CA1 or 2 to your doctor, missing deadlines, that's a killer, don't miss deadlines, and not reading your denial letters. So those are the top things that I see, that if you can avoid these pitfalls, your odds of getting a claim accepted go way, way up.
Yeah, especially finding the right doctors, guys, the list that he gave. Okay, so Dr. Cooper said, don't worry about Auburn fans. They listen to supervisors.
Oh, dang. So, that's between Dr. Cooper and the audience.
Stephen, can Eric help me with the lawsuit who hit me if I want to sue the guy who hit me? First,
yes,
he can, but you have to, a lot of you are messaging me with saying that you got in an accident, and when I ask you, were you at fault, you're telling me no. And when Eric asks you, you tell him, yes, you were at fault.
So the key is you can't be at fault.
If you were at fault, he can't help you. And if you want to look at your police report, the person that's at fault is always on the top.
And on your CA1 form,
on your police report.
So the second page of the CA1, I showed it to you a second ago. Box 30 says, was this caused by a third party? I keep dropping my stuff. I'm throwing it around like I'm whatever. If it was caused by a third party, then they cover this. But if you caused it, you can still have your injury claim approved, but you're not going to get a settlement later because it was your fault. Wow. We're doing a really good job tonight with our technology. Everything's working fine on our end. Every time she touches something, it turns to gold.
Steven said, I need a casual relationship. Can't find any doctor to help me.
Depends on where you're located. Let us know. But you can see our locations tab here. And you can see that all of our states are listed alphabetically.
So we have, go back up, we have 4 doctors in Alabama, 2 in Arizona, 2 in California, a crap ton in Florida.
That's 14 so far that are listed. There's more coming. 2
in Georgia, 2 in Illinois, 1 in Indiana, 1 in Louisiana, 3 in Maryland, 2 in Massachusetts, 1 in New York, 1 in North Carolina, 3 in Ohio, 1 in Pennsylvania, 1 in South Carolina, 1 in Tennessee, 3 in Texas, 2 in Virginia, and 1 in Washington.
Washington State.
So we have quite a few.
So if any of these work out for you, all you got to go to federalinjurycenters.com and check the locations tab. And if any of these offices make sense to you, you can call them directly. I mean, you can see we put their phone numbers here, so you can call every office yourself.
Yeah.
You're bypassing us and going straight to the office. That's what we prefer.
And then those of you that are asking about the schedule award, we have a tab for schedule award doctors.
Oh, click on it.
Go ahead and tell them.
Click it. So when you click schedule award doctors, no, you're good. You can come up. It's fine. So I wrote some stuff about schedule awards here because you need to know stuff about it. And then I'm listing the offices, as you can see. I start listing offices that have trained schedule award doctors. So the offices now are Pinellas Park, Florida. We'll be adding St. Petersburg, Florida, Forest Park and Phoenix City, Alabama, Gilbert, Arizona, and Ocala, Florida. So these doctors are currently doctors that are trained in the 6th edition to permanent impairment.
Yeah. All right. So, let's see. Michelle Blair, you all are desperately needed. I'm out of Branston Bourbon's place, not during before work, Chris, in Kentucky. It's very, very difficult to find doctors willing to go the extra mile for work comp. We are really working on that.
Yeah, we are. We understand. It's tough. Like, look at this map. If you here, just scroll this a little better.
Oh, there we go.
Check out this map. So I always show this. Look at this area in the middle of the country.
There's
Imagine you're there,
nothing.
and some of you are here. Some of you live there, and we're working so hard. We understand that you're struggling. Another one was El Paso we're working on, which will help us over here in the southern portion of New Mexico. But we're doing the best we can. We're going to these doctors conventions, trying to recruit doctors because we know you need them. Like, I can see. Like, all you got to do is just look at the empty spot in the map. I know you need them.
Yeah. Ted said, how do you get OPM to tell OWCP what the total paid under your DRA?
Okay. I don't know what DRA is, but I'm not also an OPM expert.
Yeah, if you message me your phone number and tell me that you want to discuss OPM disability or OPM in general, I will have Eric call you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, so our friend Eric, the lawyer, is the OPM expert. I know broadly what OPM is about. I can give you some pretty good details, but if you start using too many acronyms, I might get snowed.
Sandy said, thank you, Jeannie and Chris. My case got approved, and thank you, Dr. Harper in Bessemer, Alabama. Awesome.
Yeah, Dr. Harper is our one of our oldest standing Federal Injury Centers franchisees. We're really happy with him. He's gotten more claims accepted than all the rest of them combined.
April Smith said, how long does OPM take with disability retirement?
I don't know what that means. I don't know what you mean by how long does it take. How long does it take to get approved? I don't know the answer to that. It takes various amounts of times. It depends on your doctor's narrative report. Your doctor has to, evaluate all your records, do his own or her own evaluation and testing, and then write a great narrative report explaining why you're disabled from the job. And the OPM evaluators are probably going to take various amounts of time based on the quality of those reports.
Johnny Utah, I just read your entire thing. Go ahead and ask for when you talk to your claims examiner, tell them you want to speak to the supervisor.
Yeah.
They're supposed to do that, Jody Goodwin said the supervisor doesn't fill out anything. She says to go online and do it by yourself.
Okay, so that's because you go to eComp and you fill out your portion, but then an email goes to your supervisor, so make sure you have the right supervisor email address, and then they are required to fill out their part as well, and they have 10 days from when they get that to turn it into Department of Labor, so they have to get it done.
Ted said, why won't OWCP answer these questions? Is my every 4 weeks pay for life or not?
Okay, so if you're on periodic rolls, it's going to be like for a very long time until your doctor says it's otherwise. But it's all about your doctor's CA-17, and they're saying, your ability to work. There's no way it's for life. I have seen people that have been on the OWCP rolls for a lifetime. But you'll have to get more information from your doctor and share it with your claims examiner.
Carol said, how does it 3 years from last exposure work versus when you first realized it was work related?
Okay, so that last exposure thing is where it gets complicated. Here's the deal. The best thing everyone can do is report now. The soonest possible time to do anything is right now, so report your injury now. But for people that did not report within 3 years, but you're able to continue working, you may have gone to work today and had an exposure to a situation that caused you, discomfort. Well, now today is your date of last exposure, so you can use that as your date of injury. That's something I got from Eric Blowers. We were actually at a convention, roll carrier convention, when I learned that from him. Mm-hmm. So if you want more information on that, send us a message and we'll call you, or we'll have Eric call, and we'll explain the date of last exposure. But for those of you that you think your 3 years is up, but today you're still working and you had a problem, well, today could be your date of last exposure, which means you can now claim your injury again. And because you asked that, there are about 1,000 people that are now confused. So all of you that are confused, report now and you don't have to worry about it. Just report right away, and there are no problems. There are way fewer hurdles to jump over if you just report now.
Angelina said her phone died, so she didn't get to hear the answer about getting paid. I'm out of work and not getting paid. It's approved for medical only.
Okay, Angela, you've got to get your doctor to write a disability narrative. First of all, write a CA-17 that took you out of work. I'm assuming that happened if you're out of work. And then a disability narrative explains medically why you had to be out of work, that medically you can't do the following things because of this injury, and here's why. And then also attach a CA-20 form, which you can get right here at OWCP Forms, okay, a CA-20. And then attach copies of your doctor's appointments where you had to be out of work as a result. But the most important thing you can do is get a disability narrative from your doctor explaining why you needed to be out of work medically. And there's a CA-20, and the CA-17 is right above it.
So we have all the forms that you guys would possibly need.
I don't have the death forms,
yeah.
but you have to understand my mentality. I can't really stomach the idea of it.
He doesn't want to put that on there.
So the idea of that is too painful for me, so I don't have those on my website.
Karen said, well, if you go to work, that will further your injury. Can you still have work comp claim?
Yeah, so you can go to work and still have a work comp claim. You can go to the doctor for up to 4 hours of every work shift and get paid. So you can do both.
Okay, so a lot of you, listen, I know a lot of you are paying out of pocket for attorneys or for consultants that are doing similar to what we do because they're
Don't get me started on those people.
Yeah, they're charging you money. Huh?
Go ahead, finish your thing.
What you need to do is all your friends, you have to tell them if they go to a trained OWCP doctor, money is not supposed to be coming out of your pocket. We can't speak for all the other doctors. That's not a part of our franchise because we don't know what they're going to do. But our doctors, you'll never have to pay a dime from the minute you walk through the door. Some doctors may not work with some orthos or MRI companies and you'll just use your insurance, a lot of you always ask. You can get that back.
Yeah, and about these, there are these groups, I don't know what you call them, but they're not doctors. And they say, you know, if you pay us a down payment and a monthly rate, whatever it is, it's more than you have to pay, obviously. We will work your claim and get it accepted and help you get paid.
Yeah.
So, you know, you didn't expect to get hurt, and it's almost like I don't want to say that. It's like they have you in a bad spot and they're taking advantage of you.
Yeah.
And hold on. Don't be taken advantage of by people who want you to pay money out of your pocket to get your claim accepted. That's ridiculous. Look, you got to pass it along to your friends. Anybody that thinks they want to pay money to get their claim accepted can call me for free.
And on top of that,
how's that sound?
Right, and Eric will even tell you, oh, your claim is denied? Go see Federal Injury Centers. I'm just telling you what he says.
But if you're in Iowa or Idaho or South Dakota, North Dakota or Montana, we don't have anybody there. But I'll still help you. Yeah. All of my people will help you. We will do whatever it takes so you don't have to pay those people, snakes, to get your claim accepted. Because what's their motivation to get it accepted? Once it's accepted, you don't have to pay them anymore.
Yeah, don't pay out of pocket.
So
it's crazy.
I'm worried about you paying money to people whose motivation is to keep it denied, so you keep paying.
Yeah.
Let that go.
We understand you have to put food on the table and pay your bills.
We do this for free. You come here for free. You can read my books. You can come to our doctors for free. You can do a lot of things you can do to learn how to help yourself without paying thousands of dollars out of your own pocket.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Elaine Reed said, what happens if if you get a reconsideration denied?
Do another reconsideration. Look at the denial letter, give it to the doctor, say, okay, now address this one, and then do it again. You can have an unlimited number of reconsiderations.
Stephen, please send me your number and I will have Eric give you a call. Judy says, what if they don't approve it in the 12 months with the secondary disability?
I'm not understanding what that's about.
I don't know.
So for me, 12 months is a reconsideration thing. I don't know what you meant by that. What if they don't approve it within 12 months with a secondary disability? I'm going to need more information. I'm sorry.
Elaine said, doctor did refute denial and I saw 3 other doctors. They tore apart my witness statement. Maybe it was the causation. So do I file another reconsideration? Okay,
I want you to send, my email address is Chris, CHRIS, at federalinjurycenters.com. Chris at Federal Injury Centers, like this shirt says, centers with an S. Where am I at? Right there, .com. I'd like to see the denial letter and the narrative report your doctor wrote. If you email that to me, I'll tell you what's wrong.
Damon said, on my pay stub, it says remove from TTD to PR. Do you know what that is?
Your pay codes are probably agency specific,
yes,
and I don't work for any of your agencies, so you have to tell me what those things mean.
Shavonda Renee said, How often do you get paid through OWCP?
So I read a letter from a claims examiner once to an injured person who said turn your CA7s in every 2 weeks. So turn those in every 2 weeks and you'll get paid on a regular basis. I think they're paying monthly, but if it's every 2 weeks, even better. If you're on the periodic roll, you're going to get paid like clockwork without having to turn anything in.
You want to see this list again? Here it is. The list, you guys, oh, sorry. Can you go to that one with the list of doctors? Okay, where'd you go? Elaine, you said, can you post a list of 8 doctors, please? I need to know doctors who understand causation for CA2 due to repetitive work conditions over a long period of time.
Yeah, so I'm not saying these people don't understand that. I'm just saying these people don't understand that. So go back to our doctors list.
Get a picture of this, guys, because I'm going to go ahead and change it, those of you that want it.
Go back to Federal Injury Centers. Just hit escape. And go to Locations tab. And then arrow down like twice. That's it. All right. So these people know how to do CA2s. That other list of people usually don't. That doesn't mean that there's not some doctor who's going out of his or her way to learn OWCP. They're just, few and far between. They're very rare.
Okay, we do have a doctor in New York. Anybody that has any questions with a doctor that's in your city and state, you can call the office and they are going to be able to help you right then and there. They are trained to answer your questions because a lot of you are asking me simple questions. Where's your locations? Because I even have it on my voicemail. So I do that on purpose so you guys call the office and have them handle your questions.
And if you call and you don't get to talk to the doctor, well, that's just calling a doctor's office. That's how it goes. We train everybody to help you. So all of our offices have receptionists and or case managers who know what to do. So let them help you.
Terry, if you go to the San Antonio office, all you got to do, call Dr. Woywood. The front desk will tell you everything you need to bring in.
Yep.
Okay, so...
Yeah. They'll do the intake over the phone, so be prepared for that. But that's keeping you organized, so when you show up, you have everything you need, and the doctor can do the right job for you.
Elaine, what type of doctor is in New York? It is a chiropractic office, but he's got nurse practitioners and an MD.
Yeah, so those of you are saying, oh, what kind of doctor is this? Remember, just because I had chiropractors on the list doesn't mean you can't go to our chiropractors. Multidisciplinary practices are the standard now in healthcare. You go to chiropractic conventions and they're talking about integrating with medical. This is what they do. And so the chiropractors are really good at business, so they own the practices, and then they bring in the medical doctors, nurse practitioners, and PAs, and then they partner up to help you. So don't be weary about going to a chiropractic office that's one of ours, because there's an MD and a nurse practitioner or a PA at every single one of these red points, every one of them. And you're required to have an MD to get your claim accepted, and we get claims accepted at a nearly 100% pace. That's a clue.
Kelly said, I'm in desperate need of help. I've been denied twice because DOL isn't reading the doctor's notes. How do I fix this?
We have the doctor write new letters on reconsideration. And, if we have to, we'll circle things with a Sharpie. We'll put Sharpie arrows to them. We'll do whatever it takes to get the claims examiner to read it.
Michelle, you said time to concentrate on Kentucky. We're working on it.
Hey, and we love Kentucky. I mean, she took me down the Bourbon Trail a few years ago before COVID. And that was a lot of fun because I'm kind of a bourbon enthusiast. And Kentucky is some of the prettiest places.
Oh, it was
all
beautiful.
All the beautiful green trees and all the the quarter horses
the downs,
everywhere
yeah.
is incredible. We love Kentucky.
Anthony said, file the CA2 on Monday on eComp. I uploaded my narrative, but not the doctor's narrative because I don't see him until the 21st of the month. How does my doctor get paid before I get approved? I probably need an MRI as well. Does my insurance pay until I get approved?
Okay, so
yikes.
You should not, I tell this all the time live, don't worry about the doctors. They're doing just fine. You don't need to worry about how they get paid. They get paid by Department of Labor once they do a good enough job for you to get paid. If your benefits aren't there, neither are theirs, and they shouldn't be. So they can e-comp your medical reports directly from their office. That's how ours do it. And then once it's the report's e-comp, that's how the claims examiner reviews it and accepts it or denies it. So, but don't worry about how the doctor gets paid. They're doing just fine.
So how it normally works is...
And I'm sorry, and my doctors are here watching me. They're hearing me say it.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you they're all right here going, yeah, don't worry about us.
Our offices are all trained. Whether you have filed your CA 1 or 2 or not, you can go ahead and call them, get your appointment. They're going to ask you all the questions. They would like a copy eventually of your CA 1 and 2 to write your narrative.
Eventually on day 1.
And again, like I said, if our doctors are not established with an MRI clinic or a specialist, you can use your insurance and then get reimbursed once your claim gets approved.
You'll go to the OWCP Forms tab, you'll get an OWCP 915, and turn in receipts and get reimbursed for your out-of-pocket.
And the doctors have to be credentialed with OWCP.
And the imaging centers too.
Yeah. Cherokee said, I have a flare-up from 4 years injury, and I have flare-ups, and sometimes I miss work, and DOL won't pay me for the days I miss. I was told if the flare-ups and it's caused by what I do at work, but it's constant even if I'm not at work. So my claim adjuster said I need to make a CA2 case, but my doctor said I don't need to do that. Which one is it?
That's a lot. Here's the issue. If you had an accepted claim in the past, whether it was a CA1 or a CA2, and you're having flare-ups now, and it's the exact same thing, and only your doctor can tell you that, then you're likely going to need to fill out a CA2A, Notice of Recurrence, and then that way your claim basically gets reopened for more treatment.
Ashley Turner says, so I just moved to Florida from Texas. I've been calling physical therapy places in Fort Walton and Destin areas. They are telling me that I have to have a referral for my OWCP case manager. Do I really? I need to get... Can you message me, please?
We'll help you with that.
Ashley Turner, I will fix that for you.
Well, and we have an office in Pensacola, and you'll be able to get in there.
Stephen, you live in Long Island. Dr. Barton Shockey's office is in Manhattan.
It's the closest thing we got. We're working on it.
Ted said DRA is Disability Retirement Annuity.
Gotcha.
Dr. Harper just got his 500th case accepted, guys.
Who said that? Who's there?
Jody.
Oh, how about that? 500.
Dr. Harper in Bessemer, Alabama. It's a little tiny city outside of Birmingham. He has 500 claims accepted. He's been doing this now for 4 years.
So he's got that office. He's got an office in Montgomery, Alabama, and he's opening up in Huntsville, Alabama as well. So if you're in Alabama and you're suffering with denied claims, you're just not trying very hard.
Anthony said, I filed a CA2 on Monday, got a case number, but haven't seen a doctor yet. My appointment is 2 weeks. Who pays my medical bills until my CA2 gets approved?
Well, you do. But if you go to one of our doctors, nobody bills you. We just wait till the claim's accepted, then we bill Department of Labor. Because Department of Labor gives the doctors 1 year from the date the claim's accepted to bill. So when doctors do a good job, they never lose money. So they can do this for free as long as it takes to get the claim accepted. If you're going to one of our doctors, it will cost you nothing. If you're going to one of somebody else's doctors, they're going to ask you for your health insurance most likely, and you'll have to pay your copays.
Okay, so Annette, you said you were in a car accident in 2018. OWCP didn't help. Found our doctor in Chicago. He is absolutely amazing. He found a bulging disc.
How about that?
Treated me for within approximately 3 months. The pain that I had was minimal. I was driving a new van on my route, so I had shocks in the vehicle. I was to have a scheduled award appointment May 31st. On May 28th, I was rear-ended again. How do I handle the case? Okay, what you need to do, Annette, is message me after we're done with the live. Give me your name. I have your name, your phone number, and let me know if you were at fault or not, and if you have an attorney. If you don't, I'll have Eric call you guys tomorrow.
But good job, Dr. Archuleo. So
yeah.
He's right here, right by Lake Michigan, and he's doing a freaking great job getting cases accepted.
Michelle said, you are a shining light of hope and truly are the saviors for many wallowing and trending for dear life in the murky waters of work comp. Thank you for all your hard work. It shows that you care, and personally how easy workers can destroy everything. I thank Lord for my mother every day. She paid my mortgage while I waited and waited on Department of Labor.
That's a really great message. Thank you for that.
Stephen, what if I live in Long Island? Okay, I don't know what to tell you guys. If you live far away from an office there, you'll have to maybe get a ride or a taxi.
Look, we're not saying it's going to be easy, and I'm not even saying you have to go to our offices. Obviously, you can go wherever you want to go. We are literally doing the very best we can. Listen, these red tabs that you see here, nobody else in this country is making an effort to do this. We're doing everything we can. We're attending union conventions to train you the way I'm doing it here, so that you know what to do. but we're also going, here and here, and we were in Dallas, and we're just going all over recruiting doctors. That's how these pins got in the map. Unfortunately, nobody else gives a crap about this. I think we're the only ones that care, and it shows by here we are doing this. So be patient with us. I know that it's a hike for you to get to Manhattan, and it may not be worth it to you, and only you can know that.
Vincent Sapone said, thank you, Jeannie, for helping me find the doctor in Palm Harbor. I will be seeing him for the first time in July. I'm moving to the West Coast from the East Coast. I sold my home. You and Chris do so much for all of us. I thank you for your hard work. Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And you're going to love Dr. Chris in Palm Harbor.
Yeah, he's so cool.
One of the nicest guys I've ever met.
Thank you for your advice. Ashley Turner, I really need help in Fort Walton Beach. They have an office in Pensacola, but I'm not allowed to drive that far. And will I get reimbursed for that travel?
So we'll help you with the travel.
So you're in Fort Walton Beach, and you're wondering if you go to Pensacola if you'll get paid. If it's under 100 miles.
She's saying she can't drive.
Oh.
So the other thing on the OWCP 957 is they'll pay for like taxi, Uber, and Lyft. And if you have a friend or a family that will drive, they'll pay for that person's round trip up to 100 miles. You just have to call your claims examiner and get approval in advance. It's called pre-authorization for the travel. And just know that they'll, ask them if they'll reimburse you. If they won't, you can still go. You just can't get paid for the travel. And you got to ask yourself, what costs more, the injury or the drive to get better?
Okay, we do not have a location in Long Island. So I'm
Not
saying
yet.
you can drive from Long Island if you can or somehow get to Manhattan. But we do not have a location in Manhattan. I think you're misunderstanding. We just have one location.
No, we do have a location
in Manhattan.
We don't
not
have one in
Long Island.
And listen, we understand. It may be too much. It may be overwhelming to get there. I've only been in New York once in my life, okay? And it was to go to Dr. Shockey and Dr. Bart's office. So I understand it's tough, and it may not work out for you. It is the best we have right now, but we are working to get doctors in all the boroughs and all the areas in New York.
She said, when did you all get a San Antonio office? I didn't even know there was one. I just moved from there.
Yeah, you just got to check back often because like offices are going to pop up on this map that I'm going to be like, oh, great, the office is on the map now because my staff gets done training. So Joe recruits, the staff trains, and then they get listed here, and then we go do our thing so that you can get there. So just check back often. And yeah, there's one right there in San Antonio. Boom. Right at the Riverwalk or somewhere. He's not at the Riverwalk, but he's not far from it.
Ashley, can I go to the office in Pensacola?
Yes.
Yeah, she lives an hour away. Okay.
You can, yeah. We'd love to have you. We'd love to be able to help.
Damon said, just found the answer to the periodic roll, paid every 28 days, no longer complete CA7s.
Yeah, you don't have, when you're on periodic roll, you don't have to fill anything out. They just pay you, and every 28 days, so basically once a month.
Alicia said, if you get approved for work comp, do you still have to pay your regular insurance and union dues?
Well, you have to pay anything that would normally come out of a paycheck that's not coming out of a paycheck anymore. So just get with your supervisor and your union and make sure that you're not having some benefits that you don't want to lapse, that they're not lapsing.
Sheila said, does my doctor have to refer me for my MMI?
So to be at MMI, your doctor has to say you are at MMI. So it's not really referring, it's a medical decision. If you're saying that they have to refer you for an impairment rating, if they don't do it, then you could go pick your own impairment rating doctor.
Vanetta Green, please message me and I'm going to have Eric help you with this schedule award issue. Because there's nothing that we could do for that. Eric will definitely tell you what to do. Ted said the 915 on your site says expired 2/29/2016. Is that still good or is there a new one?
I don't think it says expired that. That was the last time it was revised. It's still good. They don't put expiration dates on it. It's the revised date. The CA10 was revised in October of 21, like this last October. Prior to that, the last revision date was 1987. It happens.
Okay, Stephen, okay, what you need to do is go on this page, click the locations button up there, and then scroll down all the way to New York, right there. That number right there, when you go on your phone or your laptop, there's a number here, 917-717-0026. You have to call and you have to make your appointment. I cannot do that for you.
Yeah, so what we want is for you to pick the office that makes sense to you and on your own do it. We're not a referral service. Not that we don't want you to go to these offices, because obviously we put them there on purpose so you can get your claim accepted. But we're not a referral service. We're here to teach you about OWCP and let you know their offices. If any of these make sense to you, we encourage you to call on your own. The doctors and the staff there are trained to help you, just like it's calling me.
We just, okay, so a lot of you message us and you call, and then I send you a text message. We don't make referrals, so you'll see, I'll say, here is the link to all of our offices. If you choose to go to one, you can call. That's what I tell you, because I can't say, go to our, Fort Myers office, go to our Miami office. I can't do that.
The reason that is, I mean, she can do it, but we don't do it as a policy. Because the law says you have the right to choose your own physician, and we respect the law. We want you. We honor it by telling you choose. So we tell you where to go, so we can get you to the water, but you got to drink it.
Yeah. Sheila said, I have no insurance because I'm not working and I'm not getting compensation. What can I do?
Well, let's get you paid. Let's find out why you're not getting paid and solve that problem.
Message us.
Yep.
Jody said, is there a time limit for when your case is closed when you can file a CA2A?
No, you have lifetime medical benefits, and so you can file a CA2A anytime there's a genuine recurrence. But you should go to your doctor first and make sure it's not a new condition, like a new CA1 or a new CA2. If your doctor says, no, that's the same old thing, well, then you just fill a CA2A.
Carol said, I need some help with labor case. Union failed me big time. So message me your number and I'll pass this to Eric.
So we're going to answer a couple more questions if there are any, and then we're going to wrap it up in the next 5 minutes. What else we got?
For a schedule award, is there any doctor near Wisconsin?
Well, so let's check it out here. Here's Wisconsin, and Illinois is the closest thing we've got, and I don't believe they're trained yet. I'm really sorry about that. We're working on it. The training for schedule awards, the impairment rating training, is another couple of weeks of training for doctors, and after they became doctors, which took a lot of money and a lot of time to learn it, then they had to learn this OWCP thing, and that took a lot of time too, and now they're like, oh, now you got to make me do this too? And the answer is, yeah, you got to. So 5 or 6 of them already have. Some of them are in process. We're really sorry. Here's the good news. The deadline for being able to file a schedule award is your life. So as long as you're still alive, you haven't missed a deadline. You can always Google Schedule Award Doctor or OWCP Schedule Award Doctor, and you can find who else is out there that claims that they do it. And many federal lawyers can help you with this as well. Eric is one of them.
Dr. Carrie Hawkins at your Redondo Beach offices in California was so helpful and truly shows she cares. Thank you so much.
So Dr. Hawkins she's a badass. I mean, this one refuses to lose. She'll do whatever it takes to win. So yeah, if you can make it there. And we got Dr. Alvarez in Thousand Oaks too, and he's also a badass. Every time I talk to him, I'm energized. Same for her. So if you're in Southern Cal, you're good. We are working with someone, or we're trying to get something going on in the San Francisco area, but that one's a little tougher location.
Terry Wilson said, was in November 18th, I went into work hurting my shoulder, and I asked my supervisor, how do I prove it's from 21 years of working for the Postal Service, and she helped me find a doctor to pay out of my own pocket, so I figured I wouldn't be able to prove it. So I had surgery. Surgery wasn't successful. My question is, how do I get it under work comp? Am I going to be held responsible for the first surgery if it's classified as work-related?
You just got to find a doctor that can get the claim accepted. You reported within 3 years, so you're good. You just need a doctor that can prove it. We could prove this all day long, but you got to find somebody that can. If any of these locations make sense for you, I'm sure we'll be able to help you.
Yes, Chris can look over your stuff. Please email him at chris@federalinjurycenters.com. Make sure you put in the subject, please read my narrative or whatever it is.
And then be patient with me, because I'm one person and there are 3 million of you. And I do this and I love to do it. So it won't bother me if you continue saying, hey, Chris, what's taking so long? I just read someone's thing from nearly a week ago. It just takes me a little time, but I want to help, so you can send it. I won't forget.
Vanetta, okay, once the chat is over the live feed, you'll go in and it'll say messenger, just like your regular Facebook messenger. Just click the messenger and type away. It's only Chris and I that look at these messages, so don't worry, no one else is seeing it. Michelle said, is it better to make a claim and be denied because the doctors don't deal with the headache of correctly wording reports, or search for the best doctor who deals with work comp so you'll be approved from the get-go? It's an occupational injury, but 100% chance of reoccurrence. But besides doctor's appointments, there is no loss of work.
I'll tell you what, the worst pain in OWCP is not having your claim approved. So in my opinion, and this is why we do this, finding a doctor that can get your claim approved is probably the best thing you can do for yourself.
Yeah. Alicia Kitts, yes, your friend can file for mental distress.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was helping somebody today with a claim that's definitely going to get approved.
Ted, so if your doctor isn't signed up for paperless billing system, you're out of luck.
Nah, that's okay. They can, that, again, don't worry about the doctors and how they do billing. If they want to send in paper records like it's 1995, that they can. Our doctors do everything electronically because, you know, we live in 2022.
Okay, Nikki, my injury started in 2005. I just reported to my employer on May 13th because the pain wouldn't subside. Will I be denied because of the 2005? Can I change it to 2022?
No, just you're fine. You just look. You're probably going to be a date of last exposure person, which is more complicated but definitely doable. So send us a message, and I'll have somebody work through this with you to show that you've been working with a pre-existing condition that just, you know, is made worse by the job. It'll get accepted. Don't worry.
Can I do an impairment award anytime, or does the doctor have to say?
The doctor has to say you're at maximum medical improvement, and then from that point forward, you can do an impairment rating for a schedule award anytime for the rest of your life.
Michelle, okay, so what we're trying to tell you is if you come to our doctors, you don't have to worry about any money that you don't have to pay out of pocket.
We don't charge any money out of
We
their
don't
pocket.
charge you. And I know maybe our locations are not in some of your areas, but we're telling you, if you come to our doctors, they are not going to take any money out of
Look,
pocket.
I can't control what happens to people that go
Yeah.
to this spot here, but anybody that goes to these spots here, it's against Federal Injury Center's rules for our doctors to charge you money out of your pocket. Our doctors can literally be removed from the franchise for charging you $1. So if you come to us, it's not going to cost you anything.
Mr. Hayes says, my job suspended me for 7 days while I was off work on OWCP. They have been AWOLing me for several months. They had no work within my restrictions.
So you're out with a CA-17 because they said there's no work for you and they're putting you on AWOL? Are you a member of the union, and do you participate and communicate? Because you should be filing a grievance. They're probably even an EEOC claim. They sent you home. How can you be AWOL'd if they sent you home? You know, if you were able to work at some limited capacity and they didn't let you work, how's that your fault?
Yeah. Okay. So if anybody needs to give us a call, the phone number is 877-787-OWCP. Call. If I don't answer, I listen to your message and I will text you back if I can, because if it's an easy answer. Most of the time it's, can you tell me where your locations are? I have it on my voicemail that says go to www.federalinjurycenters.com.
Make it 3 W's and it'll always work.
Yeah. And you can always come on here at federalinjurycenters.com, click locations. We have the schedule award tab for the doctors, which there's not that many, and OWCP forms. We also have a
How-to video.
where is it at?
Right here.
There's a how-to video, step-by-step how to file certain forms, so you can go there. And then we have a tab for COVID, right?
It's under OWCP claims.
Right here. If you want to
Click on
learn about COVID, click OWCP claims. Let's see.
There's a drop down and OWCP COVID-19 claims.
It didn't drop down there.
Well-
Oh, it's on there, right? It won't drop down.
Click. Oh, Jesus.
All right, there you go. So this tells you everything you need to know about how to file your COVID claims, okay? What else do we got? I hope you have that in writing for them. No work available. What are the OWCP compensation formula codes? HBI, BLI, OLI, and P?
There's no
RV?
chance I have those memorized. But you can Google them. You can Google OWCP compensation codes and you'll see a list of them. That is just, I don't have those memorized. I'm sorry. That's a great question. I just don't have them memorized.
Yes, have it in writing if they have no work available. Most definitely. Okay, so that's all the questions. Let's see, do we have anything on YouTube?
No,
It's less than 100 tests. It's less than 100 miles. 100 miles round trip is what you'll get paid on.
On a CA or OWCP 957.
Florida, Pennsylvania. There was a few people on tonight. Well, okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight on the OWCP pitfalls. What I'll do is I'll take that slide that Chris had with the doctors, and I will go ahead and post it because some of you want to know about the slide, and so I'll post it. And those of you that want the book, don't forget to go to breakingowcp.com. We have a handful of hardcover left.
I've got plenty of volume 3, a few volume 2, no more volume 1s in hardcover or hard copy, because I want you to get the PDF. It's more important that it's on your phone, because your phone's always in your pocket. Nobody leaves home without a phone. If you leave home without a phone, you're going to turn back around and go get your phone and be late to work. So you always have a phone. I want the book on your phone, because if you get in trouble, you can go to the table of contents and go, okay, that's where it's at. And you can say, hey, supervisor, why are you saying I can't have a CA16? Right here it says you have 4 hours to give it to me.
Yeah.
So I want you to download it to your phone.
I know a lot of you guys liked that we did this little PowerPoint presentation. We'll do a few more within. But what I'm going to do is a lot of you said that you're having problems downloading the book. I don't know why. So I'm going to do a video of Chris doing it. And then I'll post the video for you guys how to download the book. It's really simple.
But if anybody, goes through the whole process and for whatever reason can't download it, just send me a message and I'll email it to you. I did that today. It's not a big deal to me. I'm happy to send you the email, because I can go and look and say, yeah, you definitely got the book and you couldn't download it. I'll email it to you. You'll have exactly what you would have downloaded. No problem.
All right, and then down below, it's pinned below, breakingowcp.com, federalinjurycenters.com, owcpchats.com, and the phone number. Let's see, anything else? Pretty sure. Yeah, the book, the email. Okay, so the email for Chris is Chris, CHRIS, at federalinjurycenters.com, just like our logo, federalinjurycenters.com. And in the subject, please put what it is so he knows that it's from a patient. He gets about, 1,000 emails a day.
You're not all patients, federal employees. Let me know it's from you. Okay.
So that's it for tonight, guys. We will see you next week.
Thank you. And again, we'll be in Orlando starting tomorrow through Sunday, recruiting doctors. Cross your fingers that we find somebody in your area. Next week we'll be in Vegas doing the same thing. And I'll probably have a little bit of fun while I'm there also, because it's Las Vegas.
Yeah, Tammy, I will tell Ellie and Gizmo you said hi.
Yeah, we can't have them out.
All right, guys, we will see you next week. Thanks for watching us.
Good night.
Have a good night.